What is really interesting and refreshing to hear from the businesses that you lead is that you appear not to suffer from cobbler's children's shoes syndrome. You appear to be able to apply your own principles and rules to your own businesses. Let's think a little bit about the way that you work with data. Can you tell me how, maybe particularly in AirManual, what role data plays in, if not your day-to-day work, then your company's day-to-day work?
Yeah, sure. So I'd say that I guess the core place when I think of data in our business, there's a few places that come up. So the core one that immediately springs to mind is we have our exec dashboard, which is essentially a Google spreadsheet which pulls in or has manually entered on a weekly basis all of the key metrics that we feel as leaders we need to be able to see to get a pulse on what's going on and be able to delve in where needed, so that I can essentially see, are we getting the revenue in that we expected? If not, is that new customer or existing customers? If it's new, is that because we're not converting the sales conversations we're having, or is it because we're not having enough sales conversations? Is that because the show up rate to those calls is too low, or because we're not having enough arranged? If we're not having enough arranged, is that because we're not getting enough qualified sales qualified leads, or is it that we're not getting enough leads at the top of the funnel? And is that because of being able to see that and see that at a glance is crucial for us to then on a fortnightly basis review as an exec team and say, what's going on in this business? What should I care about? What do I need to worry about? And we have that across a variety of areas, essentially every function in the business through IT, HR, finance, etc. So, for example, we have a weekly employee happiness survey. That means that I can identify if I have an issue with team happiness. And to date, normally it's been related to sickness, which in itself is interesting and useful. Sometimes it's very rarely and occasionally it's not, and that allows us to then look into, okay, why is that and what needs to happen? So that's the first thing that comes to mind, and the crucial part of that is having those KPIs, having it all always up to date, and then having meeting rhythm that means that we review it. And in terms of how do we have a checklist in our AirManual software which provides us with the agenda that we go through in every exec meeting, so that we're clear on, okay, we start the meeting with review of wins. So everyone shares some wins. Okay, next is review our progress, our KPIs against our targets. Okay, and that's and we've got 5 minutes for that, and then 5 minutes for reviewing our process dashboard to identify any processes, etc., that have overdue or got issues. And this, by the way, is a standard structure that we have across all of our teams. So finance has their team meeting, sales has theirs, and so on. And essentially, it follows a similar structure, reviewing against our progress against our objectives and key results. We're doing a retrospective on what could have gone better, or what's working well, and then spending a significant amount of time tackling issues. And those issues are often as a result of reviewing the data to see, okay, where are we at and where are our concerns, dropping that down to an issue and tackling it. And so that's the first thing that comes to mind. We also have a daily huddle where our 6 most important metrics are reviewed by the entire team as part of a 10-minute daily huddle. Now, it's probably worth highlighting at this point, we are a globally distributed remote team across all of my companies. That's always the case. And so I have team members in 9 countries across 5 continents. But crucially, we make sure that just because we are remote, it doesn't feel it. And so one of many ways in which we help with that is by having our daily huddle. That means that even if only for 10 minutes, hypothetically, let's say that the way that your diary lined up just meant that the rest of your team wasn't in, like your sales team, engineering team, whatever. And so, and maybe you don't even know, maybe you're an engineer and haven't even got any other calls arranged. That means you could plausibly have a day without seeing anyone because you work from home and you live alone and so on, except that you've got the daily huddle. So at least the very, very minimum, you'll have 10 minutes with everyone else in the company where you'll see them and you'll be asked to share a win, personal or professional. Share a win. You'll see the KPIs. You'll see our progress against key results. There'll be a highlight of any issues or blockers that have come up. and then there's normally something funny or interesting at the end for us or to be sent off on our way. And that's 10 minutes. And that's sufficient to not only create connection, but also give everyone visibility of the data. There's no one in the business that could say, oh, I don't know how we're doing in terms of our revenue or our number of calls with customers or customer satisfaction responses. Like, all of those things are shown on charts cumulatively against our cumulative target. So you can see whether, did we start off the quarter a bit below, but now we've caught up, or did we start above and now it's flatlined? Like, everyone can see that. There's no hiding, and it means that you've got absolute clarity across the team on how to do it. So those are the two big ways that immediately come up for me in terms of how we're using data. But then, of course, you can go deep into every other function of the business, how we use it in marketing, how we use it in sales, and so on.